Hey, Dominic, how you doing? Anyway, let's see what we can come up with today. What I would like to imagine, hey, Brian, is this is a oh good, thanks, Brian. Hey, neighbor. I, I think we're at the high today, Alex. We're just gonna go down. The morning is a high. Um, but it's overcast and apparently the sun's going to come out. What I'm hoping it'll melt the rest of the ice and snow in our driveway. Anyway, um, here's what we've talked about some, and that is the whole issue of constant force. The one of the big things behind constant force is that some of the most interesting techniques, like remontoire, égalité, like fusee and chain, all of the watches, at least the wristwatches that have those in it, are very, very expensive. Uh-oh. Hi, Ollie. You know what that means, Brian. What we have these stripes. And when I see the stripes on our streets, I go, oh man, we're in for it. Well, good luck. Hey, Goldfinger, how you doing? Graham, Jorge, or George? I I got so used to pronouncing the J as H in Spanish that when I see when I see it, I immediately go to H. But with a umlaut over O, it must be pronounced some other way. So anyway, George, welcome and hello, and forgive my multi-language mess ups. Okie doke. So anyway, so that's what I thought I would be a good kickoff point is to talk about what we'd like to have. Fusee and chain is bound to be too expensive because they're expensive to develop and regulate. I know that, Ollie. You know, there was one I saw. God, trying to think who did it. I think it was by Romain Gauthier, and he had this little chain thing that was sort of like this on the side, and maybe that's a maybe he figured out what they refer to as a 21st century uh chain. Yeah, I think on the logical one, Ollie. Yeah, that's it. Um, and I was thinking, maybe some smart guy can come up with a way to have e- something like that. Okay, it doesn't have to be. It has to involve a chain and maybe something like Gauthier did or something like that that would have the same function for maintaining constant force in the context of a mechanical watch. So, I mean, whether that would be possible or not is a whole other question. I get my shirt out here. Okay, um, but that's what I was thinking of. Boy, that'd be cool. Anything. The other one I would really, really like to see is the remontoire égalité. Now, your remontoire égalité is something that would make an adjustment. Now, here is sort of a hope that I have behind that. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Jaeger-LeCoultre True Second. It was one of the geophysics line that they got rid of. They've got a dial on that thing. It's about as boring as a schoolroom clock. But inside, they have a really ingenious way to have jumping seconds. and one of them involves rewinding a spring, a special spring for the jump spring. And I think all it does, it may just sort of push it back. I don't know, it wouldn't be considered a true remontoire, but it's certainly an idea that, well, maybe there's some way that they can do it so that it becomes something that is a for constant force. I don't know. That's just what I'd like to see. I never have been big on fusee and chains, even if they could do it. But once I saw that one in Logical One, I thought, maybe they could. Hi, HRM. I'd love to see more affordable remontoire. Me too. Something like a modified ETA 7001 with a customized mainspring barrel. Yeah. I would like to see an ETA 7001 about twice as big. Those things are really small. But yeah, something like that. Hi, Graham. Good to see you. You know, what I was thinking, one of the things that sort of led me down this path was the Farve Luba Twin Power watch, which has two barrels in parallel. And yeah, I picked up a couple of those for like $100 a piece or so. And I'm thinking, well, if they can do that with double barrels, and that's an important, I think it's far more important than it's given credit to for a constant force. So, I mean, that would be an example of something that has been done, and I'd like to see it in more watches. The only one I know of in terms of affordability, and it's not very affordable, and that's the the Schwartz ETN mechanical, which is small second. I mean, hand wound, which is a small second. Their small second model. I have some other ones also. They may even have some of the older ones, but man, I tell you, at some point those things were a bargain, and then they got snatched up like mad when people realized they're pretty good watches. Hi, Damon. How you doing? Lederer had two remontoire. Yeah, Lederer does amazing stuff, but look at Lederer's watches. They're north of 100,000, I think. But yeah, I mean, you can do stuff with that, and oh boy, yeah, his watch, his last win on that was at Triple Observatory. he Lederer had a watch, and I think it was very similar to another one he had entered into the GPHC, but this one he had regulated by 3 different observatories. I think he used the one that COSC used, and then he used Baie-Saint-Côme in France, and then another one. But he had 3 observatories that said, this watch is great. It really didn't, I mean, it was like, other than having it, given the blessing by 3 different observatories. Anyway, yeah, that would be cool. An ETA 7001's in resonance. Oh, that's another one. Yes, that's a great idea. That is a great idea. Okay, your twin power just went on the fritz again, Brian. Now, whose fault is that, Brian? I think we all know the answer to that. My fault. Let's say a dual ETA 7001. Oh, yeah. That would be interesting. That would be very interesting. Now, remember not too long ago when I took those, and this is using the, let's see if I got it right here. Using the brass plate, that wonderful brass table that Dominic had made, his son made, I was able to take 2 6498 clones and put them into resonance simply by using exactly the same everything, the 2 movements, and then getting them close enough together so that they entered into resonance. So I mean, that was not an expensive operation, especially considering the fact that I used Chinese clones of 6498. Fortunately, I had the the good fortune to have Dominic help out on that project. So, but yeah, that's a very good idea, HRM. Maybe a couple 7,000 ones and put them in resonance. Maybe even shrink them a little so that you'd have room in a like a 42 millimeter watch or something for them. You know, because I know you can do it. It's something that we had sort of a proof of concept with the thing that I made with Dominic. Sure, why not? A local-ish AD has the Zenith Academy Georges Farve Jacot watch. Boy, that's amazing. It sounds good. It's a beauty. While I couldn't get it at a big discount, I still don't have nearly enough funds for it. Yeah. See, that's the problem. Even if these things are just crazy expensive. I'm reminded of when I talked to Stephen Forsay. Uh, he said, you know, when I asked him, I said, how come more people don't do it? He said, well, it's really hard to do. Well, look at tourbillons. I just had a tourbillon, a Peacock tourbillon. It was like $3,000. Beautiful watch. I mean, very well done. And but you know, instead of costing 50,000 and up or something like that, it's able to get a really good watch with a really good tourbillon for like 3,000. So, you know, the idea that hey, that can't be done because it's hard to do. Well, maybe it could be. Maybe someone will say, "Wait a minute, I'm gonna make a remontoire," or like Gautier did with the Logical One. Had they took the chain and did something different with it. Fusee and chain had always sort of. The more I found out about it, I realized that yes, for constant forces, yes, but it's sort of like a big operation. HRM, a reversible watch with a dual ETA 7001 stacked on top of each other, running in resonance. Whew, boy, what a good idea. This is what V&E Halter did. Very recently, V&E Halter. Hey, the the trouble was stacking them, HRM. One of the things we found out, I don't know where I think I put it inside of in here somewhere. Let me find it. Hang on a second. Ah, here's what you have to have. Imagine this is a brass plate. Okay, I got my thing here. Okay, imagine this is a brass plate. You have to have the movements because basically with resonance you're using two movements, and so what you'd have to have is something like this. Let me do my. Okay, you need the two balance wheels. I don't know if you can see this or not. You need these two balance wheels really close to one another. Okay. How are you going to do that if they're stacked vertically? That was somehow V&E Halter solved that problem, but I'm not sure how we go about it. On the other hand, you have FP Journes. When you look at it, you simply have you're only dealing with the smaller movements. A lot of the movements they put in women's watches, mechanicals, they use very small movements so they can have smaller watches. they could do it side by side. Now, like I said, Vianney Halter did do one, stack them vertically, but I don't know how he got the, because they have to be on the same plane or the same plate. And I don't know how you would do that. Like I said, yeah, Vianney Halter figured it out, but Ole, in my humble opinion, something like a remontoire could be possible to manufacture at a reasonable cost, but a more realistic option would be something like dual barrels with Maltese crosses or something. Ooh, yeah. You could do, in fact, I think you could do a single barrel with a Maltese cross. Yeah, you could do that too. That's a good idea. Hi, Lee. How you doing? Zoom, zoom. Oh, zoom, zoom. I'm also very interested in vacuum sealed watches. The air resistance inside of a watch case causes a significant amount of drag on the balance wheel. The lack of oxygen also preserves oils better. That doesn't, you could, it sounds like something what you could do is take one of the perpetual oyster cases and then have something that just sucks the air out and seals it for your vacuum. That would be another idea. I don't know how much you're affected by air resistance, but it may be some. And some poor watchmaker opening it for the first time. Whoosh. Anyway, okay. What are some other constant force mechanisms that might be? See, we talked about double barrels in parallel, remontoire, um, fusee and chain. Oh, and the Maltese cross. I think the Maltese cross would be one of the ones that would be a very doable one. That one works, and you can do that with a single barrel. What other kinds of let me go back to something that I've always believed in, probably wrongly, but I still believe it. So how do you fix that? You take a watch like Philippe Dufour's Simplicity, and I'm thinking, well, what was it about the Simplicity that people just were like jaw dropping looks at it? And the answer is, I think, the finishing. You had this incredible anglaise, and you look at the thing, and all of the things are really things of beauty. But what was it about the movement itself that really that makes it what it is, a simplicity? And what I thought, well, maybe there's some way, forget the finishing and on claws and beveling and all of that for a second, and just what would it take to put a watch together with those kinds of dimensions that would have the same performance? What would that mean? Now, with AI and nanotechnology run on the machines, I don't think it'd take a whole lot, even with purely uh, using nothing but transitional metals. What do you guys think? You're struck dumb. Such an idea has everybody speechless. That's a switch. Okay. Um, Let me think. Can you think of any other constant force mechanisms? Ah, here we go. HRM. Grand Seiko ran over 80,000 computer simulations to achieve their overcoil hairspring. AI is becoming huge. Yeah. That thing could, with AI, it could run 80 million. You got, okay, computer, get to work, and to run them all for you. Um, for fun, for nothing practical. I used to like to write programs that would write programs. That was fun, and nothing practical about it, believe me, and nothing significant, just sort of test of concept. In the same way that with Dominic's help, I was able to get the resonance working. And so maybe what I'm thinking is there's some way, maybe I could get everything from AliExpress and see what I could do for the simplest movement, and then do something with it. Yeah, I agree, HRM, but I don't know where where would you find an AI that could do that? I don't even know. I mean, I think it would be a great idea, but I think, you could probably look at the work of Huygens and get your calculator out and come up with the same answer pretty quickly as well. I mean, for a basic movement. Now, for the optimal, I don't know, but it would be fun. This is the idea that, um, rather than going sort of really what is a uh, silicon route, which the logical conclusion of that is a smartwatch. And I think the Apple smartwatch is just going to get smarter with AI. They've got no problem kicking in AI to that. Um, so that'll be sort of in the future. I think we may be running into exponential kind of improvements. Uh, the amount of changes that I've seen since I got my first home computer back way back when in 1980 has we I had 145K on a 5 1/4 inch floppy disk. And back then, if you wanted something, you wrote the program yourself. At least I did. And so I was writing programs, and I never thought that I'd fill up 145K. You know, it just that's and so, but the changes now, my God. I mean, look at us. Here we are yakking back and forth over the internet. I don't know how many terabytes I'm dealing with on my computer or on my internet system, all of these things. Now, when you're exponential with 145K, and look where we are now, and then take where we are now and shove it out the same type of growth curve, I don't know, man. We're in for a lot of fun. Hi, Rancher. Doesn't have enough RAM to do AI in its current form. No, that's true. In its current form. That'll last 15 minutes. How you doing, Caesar? They let you out. Good God. You got your ankle bracelet on. Join us, man. Glad to have you. What will the future AI judging from history? Pro. Porn. Prawn? What's prawn? I don't know. Porn. Anyway, I'm sure it will. Okay, so what are some other innovations that, either through using sort of modern technology to push it, are either that or going the other way, going back, getting some gears and taking them apart, getting the simplest movement that you can pick up on AliExpress for $15 or so, taking it apart and then seeing what you would need to take out anything fancy. Take out the second hands, just down to the minute and hour. Grand Seiko also used an IMS 3D printing to hollow out their pallet fork and escapement, wheel shaped up. The Japanese, Seiko in particular, have been using a lot of this really high technology, high tech kind of stuff, and for them, on the one hand, it's sort of, I know it sounds weird to say this, but you end up with all these soulless watches. On the other hand, the other direction that independent Swiss watchmakers and German and French and even Japanese with Ahsoka stuff, they're going sort of there are two different directions of development. Now, I think in terms of pure timekeeping, the tech's going to win every time. In fact, they already have by leaps and bounds. So, what could be sort of take it down to a really fundamental Abraham Louis Breguet kind of technology, but use modern kinds of things to help develop it. That's sort of, I guess, what I was looking for. Maybe that's what Seiko has done already. Grand Seiko, okay, let's see, 70 degrees here. Wow, I wish it were 70 degrees here and melt all the ice. Hi, Zuperman. How you doing, man? I don't mean to brag, but I had an egg salad sandwich today. Okay. At what time? At 7:30 in the morning? Oh, that sounds like Ollie. I don't know if I have understood it correctly, but I think that the Maltese cross has the same problems if the spring is fully wound and has a long wind. The full power snaps against the cross. Yeah, Ollie, I tell you, I did a simulation of one. I got out my paste and scissors and wood and put a Maltese cross together system with the spring and everything. And I think what it does is it works very much like a remontoire, but with the mainspring. And you get to a certain point, and then it winds it up again. I think that's my understanding, Ollie. Now, I too could have it wrong. Hollowed out 3D printed parts will become much more common in the future, I think. Could significantly improve efficiency. You know what I'd like to see with that? I mean, doing the milling and things like that. I think a lot of that's already going on, to tell you the truth. And I got no problem with. They can use, Robbie the robot to do the whole case and make a nice one too. Because man, I'll tell you, those things can get real expensive really quickly. I found out. And this is a steel case, a gold case. If they can sort of like an alchemist, what we need is an alchemist to make gold out of steel for us. And I would say, well, all of our rubies in our watches now, they're full of they're all man-made rubies. So if I look at the movement on this, all I've got, I see if you can see it in there. This has got, you can't even see them. Is this one? No, this one doesn't have a movement. Rats. I don't have a handy movement on that. I don't know if I've understood it correctly, but yeah, you're right about that. Okay, that's why you're thinking that two smaller barrels could help things. Yeah. With a Maltese cross? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Um, anyway, we've got a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. Here is where I've got no problem with sort of using like the kind of development tools all of the designs and things are now done with computers rather than some guy with a slide rule or whatever else they're using on that. Okay, it's frying pan time, according to the rancher. So I've got to run, and he's absolutely right because I think it's my feeding time too, according to my wife. Anyway, guys, and rancher in particular, thank you. And if you come up with some good ideas for our talk today at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, let me know. Hey, Fernando, enjoy your breakfast. Where you been, Fernando? Take care.